Hey everyone, I'm Eddie. Welcome to the channel. Today I'm doing something a little crazy. I'm resitting the actual SAT I took when I was 15 years old, working through every single problem, no calculator, and yeah, I'm a little bit nervous. But before we dive in, let's talk about how much this test has changed because it is not the same beast it used to be. Way back when, the SAT math section was split into 3 sections, 54 questions, 70 minutes. Today's version is only 2 sections, 44 questions, same 70 minutes. So fewer questions, same time, sounds easier, right? Not so fast. The old test had 5 answer choices per question. Today you only get 4, and here's the one that really hurts. The old SAT had a guessing penalty. You get a question right, that's +1. Get it wrong, minus 0.25. You have to skip it to get 0, and think about all the bubbling in you had to do. And speaking about the bubbling in, the old test was a paper Scantron, one size fits all. Every student got the same exact test, and there's something people forget about Scantrons. They take time. You're carefully filling in each bubble, making sure you didn't skip a row, making sure your erasers are clean, because if you miss bubble even one answer, everything after it can shift out of alignment. That's a special kind of stress that the digital test just doesn't have. Today's digital SAT is adaptive. How well you do in Module 1 determines how well or how hard Module 2 gets. So the test is literally adjusting to you in real time. All right, that's enough context. Let's get into it and see if 15-year-old Eddie still knows his stuff. This is what a Scantron looks like for those of you that may have never seen one before. It's from the 2011 to 2012 SAT. We had to fill out our names, sign it, put our home address, put the city and state of the test center that was probably on the whiteboard in person. We had to do all this stuff too and fill in all these bubbles, really to put you in that test mindset. I know some of my friends back then said this gave them a little bit of anxiety when they started the test as well. Thankfully, you probably don't have to do anything like this, at least on paper, with the digital tests nowadays. Let's get right into it. Here's our first section, 25 minutes for 20 questions. That means you have 75 seconds, which is 1 minute and 15 seconds per problem. The use of a calculator is permitted, but I will not be using one today just to challenge myself. Let's get it. Number 1 says 70,000 is written as 7.0 times 10 to the nth power. This is a really easy one. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it looks like this one didn't register, but that means n will equal 4 here. Easy one to start. Difficulty levels ranges from 1 to 5 for every single problem back then. Each section starts with level 1 difficulty problems just to ease you in. And then near the end, there are some trap/tricky problems that really test whether you deserve that 800 or not. On a car trip, Sam drove M miles. Kara drove twice as many miles as Sam. So Kara drove twice as many miles as Sam, and Darren drove 20 fewer miles than Kara. So Darren rode 20 fewer miles than Kara, who drove twice as many miles as Sam. So how many miles did Darren drive? There it is. B is our answer. If x and y are positive integers, what are all the solutions x, y of the equation? 3x plus 2y is equal to 11. This is a plug and chug. We can start with 1. And 3 times 1 leaves us with an 8 here, so y has to be 4. So that's our very first one. 2 times 3, oh, looks like this 2 is not working. 2 times 3 is 6, but 11 minus 6 is 5, which is not divisible by 2. Or it is, it's 2.5, but that's not an integer, right? We need integers, so 2 will not work. So let's try out 3. Well, 3 times 3 is 9. Subtract from both sides. We get 2y is equal to 2, which is 1 for y. And when we get to 4 times 3 is 12. This is no longer possible because we want positive integers. Y would become a negative number. So 1, 4, and 3, 1 are our answers here for number 3. Beautiful. Number 4, a company's profit P in dollars for producing X machines in 1 day is given by P is equal to this equation. If the company produces 10 machines in 1 day, then according to this formula, what is the profit for that machine or for that day? Really easy. Just plug in the 10s into these x's. That'll give us 5,000 minus 20 times 10 squared. 10 squared is 100 times that 20 will give us 2,000. This is a 2. Looks like the marker is slightly bugging on PDF. 5,000 minus 2,000 is 3,000. What is the average or arithmetic mean of the three quantities in the list above? Averages. That's when you add everything you have and divide by the total number of things you have. So we have 1, 2, 3 things. So we're going to be dividing by 3, and we're going to get the sum of all of this. Now, this one's fairly simple. The negative n and positive n will eliminate. So we just have 12 plus 12 plus 12, which is 36. And so we get 36 divided by 3 is 12. Number 6. In isosceles triangle ABC above, AM and CM are angle bisectors of angle BAC and angle BCA. What are angle bisectors? Angle bisectors are when a line bisects, cuts exactly in half an angle. So these will be all the same. And since we have an isosceles triangle, we know these two sides are congruent as well. What is the measure of angle AMC? This is the angle in question. Well, if angle B is 40 degrees, then angle A here, all of this, and all of this added together will be 140. 180 minus 40 is what I did. I got 140. Now I divide that by 2 to say this is 70, which means each of these smaller angles will be 30, 35. Ooh, the pen is bugging. So if we have 35 and 35, that's 70 total, subtracted from 180 once more. So this angle right here will give us 110, letter A. Let's take a look at the next one. Number 7, a fruit salad is made from pineapples, pears, and peaches, respectively, by weight. What fraction of the mixture? So the entire mixture holds all of these. So the entire mixture in total will be 2 plus 3 plus 5, which is 10 as a proportion. What fraction of the mixture by weight is the pineapple? It'll be 2x over 10x, x representing whatever amount we're multiplying each of those proportions by. The x's will cancel. We get 2 over 10, which is simplifiable to 1 over 5. Number 8. In the figure above, square RSTU is inscribed in the circle. What is the degree measure of arc ST? This is a square. Therefore, it's splitting this circle up into 4 equal parts. We'll go 360 degrees divided by 4, and that gives us 90 degrees. Number 9. If P and Q are 2 sets of numbers, and if every number in P is also in Q. So P and Q are 2 sets of numbers. Here's P, and here is Q. So everything that's in P must also be in Q, which the following cannot be true. So right when I look at this question, I'm thinking about, okay, if there's a statement that says something is in P, but not in Q, then that has to be wrong, right? Because everything in P is in Q. So if I say 6 is in P, but not in Q, that cannot be true, right? So C is the answer here for number 9. Nice. Here we go. Number 10. Number 10 says, what is the maximum number of rectangular blocks measuring 3 by 2 by 1 that can be packed into a cube-shaped box whose interior measures 6 inches on an edge? So 6 inches on an edge means we have a cube that is 6 by 6 by 6. 6 by 6 by 6. So if we multiplied these out to get the volume, that would be 6 cubed. Divided by the volume of this rectangular block. 3 by 2 by 1, we multiplied those out. That's a 6. No need to do 6 cubed. One of the 6's canceled out, so we're just left with 6 squared, which is 36. Let's take a look at this next one. This one looks a little tricky, so I'm going to lock in a little bit here. If a is not equal to 0 and 5 over x is equal to this, what is the value of x? So if a is not equal to 0, I'm somehow looking for how we can get the same thing on either side. But if we add something to the top and add something to the bottom, that'll surely change the value unless the top and bottom cancel out. So if the top and bottom cancel out, x needs to be 5. And does that work? Yes, these would cancel out and these would cancel out to get 1 is equal to 1. That's how we know x has to equal 5. Now, another way you could do this is to cross multiply or use the butterfly method and then solve. But this is probably more of a logic question, which back in the day, the old SAT did have a lot of logic questions as well. Number 12, the figure above is composed of 25 small triangles, that'll be important, that are congruent and equilateral if the area of DFH, so DFH right here, is 10. 1, 2, 3, 4 triangles have an area of 10. So each triangle will be 2.5, right? 2.5 times 4 is 10. So 2.5 is the area of each of these small triangles multiplied by 25. Well, that'll just give us 62.5. If the equations above are true, number 13, which of the following is the value of y plus z? Ooh, okay. So I recognize there's a y plus z here, but I do see a trick here. I don't know if I saw this, if 15-year-old Eddie saw this, but I recognize that if I subtract the entire bottom equation, these eliminate. 2y minus y is y. Oops, y. 2z minus z is z, so we have plus z, equal to 19 minus 14, which is 5. Oh, there's our answer, and that's it. That's a cool little trick with systems of equations. Number 14, a boat costs X dollars, and this cost is to be shared equally by a group of people. In terms of X, how many dollars less will each person contribute if there are 4 people in the group instead of 3? It's easy to try to find an equation for this, but my suggestion here, or my intuition, is telling me to break it up per person for each scenario. So if we grouped these people into 3, then each person would be getting x over 3, right? X over 3 and x over 3. All that added together equals x. But now if we had a group of 4 people and we're sharing equally within 4 people, then now we have x over 4, x over 4, x over 4, and x over 4. So I'm trying to think about how many dollars less will each person contribute. So x over 3 minus x over 4 should get me the answer. Using common denominators, I could have 4x over 4 times 3 and 3x. It really doesn't like the curves, Adobe. So 4x minus 3x is x over 12, and that's all we have. If y is equal to 2x plus 3 and x is less than 2, which of the following represents all the possible values for y? Well, if x is less than 2, that means x can still be really, really, really close to 2. Let's plug in 2 into this equation for x, see what we get. That means y has to be less than 2 times 2 plus 3. And that is 7. So we have y has to be less than 7. Keep it simple. For those of you that thought x then has to be 1, that's the trap answer here, right? If you plug in 1 for x, you get 5. And many of you probably, or many students probably chose C as our answer here. Number 16, a really quick transformations problem. We're looking for the transformation from F to G. It looks like we're vertically shifting up 1 at every single point that is notated here. Therefore, it'll just be f of x and then a plus 1 on the outside. Wow, that was a simple one. All right, 17. This is probably where it starts to get a little bit tougher, so let's lock in. 17, in the figure above, a shaded polygon which has equal sides and equal angles, okay, is partially covered with a sheet of blank paper. So what they're telling us is that this angle and this angle will be the same. If x plus y is equal to 80, how many sides does the polygon have? All right. Well, x plus y is equal to 80, and we have a quadrilateral. The shaded region, if you see, is a quadrilateral, 4 sides, meaning all the angles must add up to 360 degrees. Well, x plus y is already 80, and we know these remaining 2 angles are the same, so let's call it 2x. That'll be 2x then is equal to 280. So x is equal to 140. Great. So 140 is the measure of one interior angle of that entire polygon that's being partially covered with this sheet of paper. So how do we find that? Well, we know that the sum of interior angles of any polygon is 180 times n minus 2. And that'll equal 140 times that n. Right, 140 times that n. Pardon the, excuse the writing. I do have to write extra big because of this pen on Adobe. But now we have 180n minus 360 is equal to 140n. All right. So then subtract 140n from both sides. I'm left with 40n will equal, bring the negative 360 over, and so n will equal 9. Very nice. Let's check out number 18. And it looks like, stop. If you finish before time is called, you may check your work on this section only. Do not turn to any other section in the test. Great. So we're almost there. 18. If S, T, U, and V are the coordinates of the indicated points on the number line above, which of the following is the greatest? So before I even look at the answer choices, although I do see that it's an absolute value, so we're looking for the highest, the largest magnitude. And we get the largest magnitude when we find a distance. And distance means difference. Distance means difference. So the ones that have a difference here will most likely have the highest or the largest, the greatest value. So I'm looking at C and D here. S and T are closer together than S and V. I'm looking at S and V, and that is the furthest distance of two variables between these four variables. So therefore, D must be our answer. Number 19. On the day of a rainstorm, the depth of the water at a certain location along the winding river was recorded hourly, and the results are indicated in the line graph above. Each unit on the vertical axis represents 1 foot. Right? Each one represents 1 foot. And the depth of the water decreased 10% from 3 to 4. So this right here was a 10% decrease. What was the depth of the water at 4 p.m.? All right, so 2 feet is equal to 10%, meaning 100% will be 10 times both sides. So we have 20 feet is the depth of the water at 3 p.m. We lost 2 feet. So our answer is 18 feet. Trap question would be that 20 feet. I'm sure a lot of students answered D for this problem, but C is the correct answer here. Last one. For all numbers A and B of this section, by the way, not the last one, but let A symbol B be defined by A symbol B is equal to AB plus A plus B. So whether we have XY or YX, that should be true. So B, C are automatically out. For all numbers X, Y, and Z, which of the following are true? Well, X minus 1, symbol X plus 1. This is a difference of 2 squares factored into a binomial times its conjugate. So AB, or X minus 1 times X plus 1, will be X squared minus 1 plus an X minus 1 plus an X plus 1. But the ones will eliminate. So we have a plus 2X. This is a 2, by the way. On the other side, we have X symbol X. That's X squared plus X minus a 1. Are these two the same? Absolutely. Plus X is plus 2X, and minus 1, X squared. So 1 and 2 are correct. A is automatically out now, so it's either D or E. This last one, the trick here, in order to do it more quickly, is to recognize that when we have X symbol Y plus Z, the X will only appear once added. However, when we have X here and an X here, we will have 2 of those X's from the A plus B. You can also work it out, but I recognize that, so I'm going to go ahead and answer D as our answer. 1 and 2 are the only ones that work here. And then we'll go into section 3, which is probably writing or English. 3, 4, 5 actually happen to be writing or English. Section 1 on the old SAT was actually an essay. So it took a couple weeks, more than just a couple weeks, for you to get your score back because of that essay having to be graded. Whereas now the digital test, you get your test score back in days, right? All right, this one is 25 minutes, 18 questions. So that's about 83 seconds, which is a minute and 23 seconds. And you'll see why. This is usually the section, the middle section of the 3 sections is usually the one with the short answer responses at the end. So it took a little bit more time to bubble into our answer sheet, write the numbers, and then bubble in as well. It took a lot more time. Let's take a look. So if x plus k is equal to 12 and p times x plus k is equal to 36, I mean, this is so easy, right? P has to be 3 because 3 times 12 is 36. If 13 is added to 1/2 of a certain number, whenever you see that, just call it x, right? Or y, or whatever variable you want to use. 1/2 plus 13, or 13 is added to 1/2 of a certain number. The result is 37. Let's solve. So we have 24 on the right. We have 1/2 x, and half of 48 is 24. That's how we know C is the correct answer here. Ooh, number 3. I actually do kind of remember seeing this one for some reason. I think I spent a little bit of time on this one, but we'll see. In the figure above, the usual route from town A to town D is indicated by that solid line. The broken line, this dotted line, a detour route from B to C through E. Okay, great. Each line segment is labeled with its length in miles. How many more miles is the trip from town A to D via the detour than via the usual route? Ooh, okay. I do see the trick here. I know a lot of students will take a lot of time here by adding everything. But notice how the 1, the 2, the 2, and the 3 here will be the same whether or not you take the detour. So I'm actually not going to even consider those. So I'll go, all right, let's just count up the ones between B and C. So this is 4 for the regular route. But if we add the remaining numbers here, not the 1, we have 1 plus 2. Let me redo that. If we add the remaining numbers here, we have 2, 2, 2, 2, which is 8, 9, and then plus the 3 is 12. 12 minus 4 is 8. Nice. Number 4, which of the following equations expresses y in terms of x for each of the 4 pairs of values shown in the table above? All right. So we're looking for the slope. And the slope looks like 7.5 to 13 is, I can't do my mental math right now, but it looks like it's 5.5. And it's 5.5 the rest of the way. And the change in x is 1. So 5.5 over 1 is our slope. So either B or C. A, D, and E are automatically out. Now, 7.5 wouldn't be the y-intercept. The y-intercept occurs when x is 0. So we need to go 5.5 backwards from 7.5 to get 2. That's how we know B is our answer, because the 7.5 would not work. Check out number 5. In the figure above, point B lies on AC. So AC being a line tells us that this entire thing adds up to 180 degrees. Our integers, which the following is possible value of x if x and y are integers. Let's plug in chug. X, if it's 30 degrees, then y needs to be 50, 50, 50. Great. That's our answer. It just so happens that x, I think, will be a multiple of 15. Yes. So that's why 45 is not an answer choice here, because then you'd have 2 answer choices that are correct. Number 6, the least and greatest numbers in a list of 7 real numbers are 2 and 20. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we have 20 here and 2 here. The median of the list is 6. So right in smack dab in the middle is 6, and the number 3 occurs most often in the list. Well, it's in order, so these two have to be 3. That tells us that these two numbers will not be repeating. there will be two separate numbers. So which of the following could be the average of the numbers in the list? So it didn't tell us they have to be integers, so they could literally be anything. But if we added all this up, 20 plus 6 plus 6 plus 2 will be 34. So 34 plus these two numbers here, if we wanted to make them as big as possible, would be 18 and 19, which then we'd be adding a 37. And that equals 71. And if we divide that by the 7 real numbers, that gives us a number like 10 point, what would that be? 1/7 is about 0.15, right? Or 0.14. And then if we try to put the smallest numbers we wanted, 7 and 8, that would be adding 15 to the 34, which would be 49. And 49 divided by 7 is 7. So any number, including 10 and 10.14 and 7, and anything in between, could be the average of this number. So all three of these are possible. Number 7, in the xy coordinate plane, how many points are a distance of 4 units from the origin? This kind of touches upon our knowledge of a circle. So definitely more than 4. There are actually infinitely many points that are a distance of 4 units from the origin, but I can see how some students might say 4 because they're just thinking about the points on the axes, the x and y axes. Number 8, the table above shows the number of consecutive nights that each of the 5 families stayed at a certain hotel during a 14-night period. If the Liu family stay did not overlap with the Benton family stay, so these two did not overlap, which of the 14 nights could be a night on which only one of the 5 families stayed at the hotel? So let's say the Liu family stayed the first 6 nights and the Benton family stayed the remaining 8 nights. That's 14 nights in total. Now, these numbers here could be just all moved to the right, meaning after the first, second, and third night, and even the fourth night actually, Jackson's could have stayed the following 10 days, while the Liu's are the only ones 1 through 4. Callan could have also stayed after the Liu's leave, and Epstein could have also left after the Liu's leave. So 1, 2, 3, 4. These 4 nights are a possibility. Therefore, the third night could be the only one out of the options here where only the Liu's stayed. We could have also flipped it, I believe, to move everything to the other side on Benton's way as well. Okay, very cool problem. Now here are the short answer problems. Number 9, if a cake is cut into thirds and each third is cut into fourths, fractions. If a cake is cut into thirds and each third is cut into fourths, we can multiply the two denominators. We get 1 over 12. So how many pieces of cake are there? 12 would be the answer. I could see some students putting 1 over 12 as well. Number 10, it says y is equal to h over x, where h is a constant. And if y is equal to 3, then x is equal to 4. Well, if y is equal to 3 and x is equal to 4, then h is equal to 12. What does y equal when x is equal to 6? Well, y will equal 12 over 6, which is 2. And that's what I would put into my Scantron. Number 11. In the figure above, point B lies on side AC. If 55 and 60 are the bounds for x, not including those numbers, what is one possible value of y? Oh, well, y plus x is equal to 180. So if we subtracted 55 and 60 from 180, we get 120 and 125. So any number between 120 and 125 would work. I would probably answer 122 just to get something right in between, similarly in between. We don't want to use any decimals here just because why would you do that, right? No need. Number 12, the price of a certain item was $10 in 1990 and has gone up by $2 per year since 1990. If this trend continues, in what year will the price be $100? Well, $100 divided by $2 per year gives us 50. So 50 years from 1990. Oh, sorry. A price of a certain item was $10. There's the trick. I almost got tricked. A price of a certain started at $10. So in order to get to 100, it would only take me 45 years. There's the catch. I almost got fooled here. That was our first little test right there for us not to get that 800 today. But 45 times 2 is 90 plus 10 is 100. Therefore, 45 years after 1990 would be 2035. Would be my answer. Right. Whew. I really need to lock in here. Number 13, the figure above shows the graph of a quadratic function. I want to know for what value of x is y greatest. Well, here's the greatest value right there. We know that every quadratic function has an axis of symmetry, which means that the x value here will be right in between 3 and 7, meaning x is going to be a beautiful 5. Number 14, the number n is a 2-digit number. Great. When n is divided by 10, the remainder is 9. That tells us that the units digit is 9, right? Think about that for a second. 49 divided by 10, what's your remainder? 9. 39 divided by 10, what's your remainder? 9. And then n is divided by 9, the remainder is 8. Ooh, how would we do that? Well, we know that our ones digit or units digit is 9, so let's write them out and see if we can find a pattern. 19, 29, 39. Let's divide each of these by 9. 19 divided by 9 leaves a remainder of 1. 29 divided by 9, 27 times 3, or 9 times 3 is 27, leaves a remainder of 2. 36 is the closest multiple of 9 to 39. When we divide by 9, that'll leave a remainder of 3. Do you all notice it? So I'm going to guess here with this pattern that our number will be 89. Let's see if it works. 89 divided by 10, the remainder is 9. 89 divided by 9, well, 9 times 9 is 81, leaving 8 towards the 89. So 89 would be my answer in my Scantron. Number 15, the area of the figure above is 9 over 4. What is the perimeter of this figure? Area. Well, we have, let's split it like this. We have 2 here, so this is 1. So this is 1. So if 2 times 1, which is 2. So that's 1, that's 1. So this remaining portion will be 1/4. How do I know this? 9/4 minus 2. 2 can be rewritten as 8 over 4 will give us 1/4. That tells us that this length right here is 1 over 4. Since 1 over 4 divided by 1 is itself. What is the perimeter of the figure? All right. This length right here is 1.25. This length right here is 2. Multiply each of them by 2 since we have a rectangle. If we move these 2 lines right here to make them look like this, the perimeter would be the same. It's only the area that changes when we cut out a piece from a rectangle. So the perimeter would be 2 times 2, which is 4, plus 2 times 1.25, which is 2.5. So my final answer here would be 6.5. Number 16, if J is chosen at random from the set 4, 5, 6, and K is chosen at random from the set 10, 11, 12, what is the probability that the product of J and K is divisible by 5? Well, the product will only be divisible by 5 when we multiply 4, 5, 6 by a 10 or 10, 11, 12 by a 5. Let's see how many of them there are. 4, 5, and 6 times 10. That's 3 of them. And then 10 times, or 5 times 10, 11, and 12. But don't forget, we already did 5 and 10. So we have 2 more. Now, how many possibilities are there? 3 times 3, which is 9. So we have 5 over 9 as our final answer. Number 17 and 18, let's get it. Number 17 says, Tom and Allison are both salespeople. Tom's weekly compensation consists of $300 plus 20% of his sales. Allison's is $200 plus 25%. If they both had the same amount of sales, this is a system of equations that we can add together. So 300 plus 20% of however many sales we made for Tom equals Allison's 200 plus 0.25x. And these x's will be the same. Let's work this out. That gives us 100 is equal to 0.05x. And once we multiply this out or divide 100 divided by 0.05, that'll give us 2,000. Ooh, okay. So 2000, very tempting to put that as our answer, but that's not the case here, right? It asks for what was that compensation? Not how many sales they made, but what was that compensation? By the way, 2,000 sales is a lot of sales. I don't know where they're working. Maybe it's, yeah, I have no idea. But 2,000 sales is a lot of sales for just a week. But if we multiply 2,000 by 0.25, that gives us 500 plus 200 is 700. If we multiply 2,000 by 0.2, that'll give us 400 plus 300 gives us that 700 as well. That's how we know 700 is correct. Let's check out this last one. The equation above is the equation of a line in the xy plane, and t is a constant. If the slope of the line is -10, what is the value of t? Let's solve for that slope first. So I have 12y is equal to -tx minus 3. Let's divide both sides by 12. So we have -t over 12x minus 1/4, since 3 over 12 is 1/4, but that doesn't matter here. All I'm looking at is this -t over 12. I know this has to equal -10. Multiply both sides by -12. I'll get t is equal to 120. That would be our answer. All right. We'd probably get somewhat of a break here. I remember we get breaks every 3 or 4 sections, like a 5-10 minute break, have a Nature Valley bar or something, and then get right back into it. This last one, last section, 20 minutes, 16 questions, the regular 1 minute and 15 seconds. Here we go. Number 1. If 1/3 y plus 9 is equal to 0, then y is equal to, I mean, come on now. 1 over 3 y will equal -9. Multiply both sides by 3. Y will equal -27. Starting off light work. Number 2. In the figure above, P, Q, and R lie on the same line. P is the center of the larger circle, and Q is the center of the smaller circle. So we know that PQ and QR will be the same since they are radii of the circle centered at Q. If the radius of the larger circle is 4, what is the radius of the smaller circle? Good thing we annotated that. 4 divided by 2 is what we want, and that's just B2. Number 3, Roy planted corn on 1/5 of his land. If he planted 45 acres of corn, how many acres of land does he have? So 1/5 of his land, of Roy's land, is 45 acres. Let's go ahead and multiply both sides by 5. That'll give us 225 acres of land that Roy owns in total. Number 4. The first number in the list above is 6. Okay, great. Which of the following gives a rule for finding each successive number in the list? All right. 6 to 10, add 4 to the preceding number. That does not work for these later numbers in the sequence or in the list. Take 1/2 of the preceding number and then add 7. Half of 34 is 17. Add a 7. That ain't gonna work. Double the preceding number and then subtract 2 from the result. Double 6, that's 12. Subtract 2 is 10. 38 times 2 is 68. Minus 2 is 66. Wow, that works for every single one. Don't even look at D and E. C is our answer. The two semicircles in the figure above have centers, R and S, respectively. If RS is equal to 12, what is the total length of the darkened curve? Ooh, interesting question because we're not given the ratio between the radii of R and S. Ooh, there must be another way to do this then. Let's think about the length of the darkened curve. How would we get that? Well, let's call this little r. Oops. Let's call this r sub 1 for this radius. Let's call this r sub 2. Man, this is not working. R sub 2. So we know r sub 1 plus r sub 2 is equal to 12. Man, this 12 thing is really not working, huh? Or 2 is not working. But just know that this right here, I meant to write a 2. Let me try that one more time. Okay, there we go. I'm just going to write it really big. Well, we know that the circumference of a semicircle is pi r. So we'll have pi r sub 1 for this darkened portion. And the remaining length will be plus, there it is, pi r sub 2. Well, what do you notice about these two terms? They both have a pi, so we can factor out the pi. We'll get r sub 1 plus r sub 2. What is that? That's 12. So the total length of the darkened curve has to be 12 pi. Wow, really neat problem. I wonder if this is how I would have solved it when I was 15. But, I mean, I got an 800, so I definitely got this right somehow. Number 6. If h and k are positive numbers and h plus k is equal to 7, then 7 minus k over h. Well, if h plus k is equal to 7, then h is equal to 7 minus k. 7 minus k, 7 minus k, h over h is just 1. Cool. The table above shows the populations of two countries and their population densities. The number of square miles in the area of country B is approximately how much greater than the number of square miles in the area of country A. Let us divide, right? Yeah. 7.6 million divided by 400, that is equal to 19,000. 6.5 mil divided by 600 is approximately, I want to say 11,000. So the difference between these two, there it is, 8,000. 6.6 million divided by 600 is exactly 11,000. That's why I approximated 6.5 million divided by 600 as 11,000 as well. It's pretty much close enough. Number 8, if x squared equals x plus 6, which of the following must be true? Let's think about this before we do anything. I know probably what I would have done, 15-year-old Eddie would have moved the x and 6 to the other side, set it equal to 0, factor, and then solve for the roots. But I don't think that's going to do much for us here. X squared and x. I have to add a 6 to x to get to x squared. So x squared is going to be bigger than 6 no matter what. Right? If x is negative, then for sure x squared is going to be bigger, because anything negative squared will give us a positive number. And since we're adding 6 to this x squared needs to be bigger than when we don't have that added 6 to the x. Neat problem. Number 9. Let the function f be defined by this, where a is a constant. If this is true, what is the value of a? Well, f of 10 will be 5 times 10, which is 50, minus 2a. There's the 2 again, that bugging. F of 5 will be 5 times 5, which is 25. I know the 2 works sometimes, but not sometimes. Maybe I have to curve it more like that. Is equal to 55. Let's go ahead and solve for a. 50 plus 25 is 75. Let's do some mental math here. 55 minus 75 is negative 20. And negative 2a minus 2a is negative 4a. So a will equal 5. Boom. Number 10. A number is called even-odd if it is halfway between an even integer and an odd integer. If x is an even-odd number, which of the following must be true? All right, let's think of an example and use that example. Between an even number and an odd number, 2.5. Let's take a different one. Between 6 and 11. What's right in between? I believe 8.5. So what do we notice? We'll have a 0.5 for any even odd number. So if we multiply that 0.5, any number with that 0.5 by 2, it will be an integer. Oops, I was trying to check it. 2x is an even odd? No, because if we multiply a 0.5 by 2, then it becomes either an even or odd integer. So 2 is incorrect. I have this is out, this is out. Oh, wow, look at that. This is out, and this has to be out as well. So a has to be correct. Looks like x is halfway between two even integers. Well, if x is halfway between two even integers, then that number could be either even or odd. Yeah, so that ain't gonna work either. 8, 4. No, it's gonna be always even, right? Halfway between two even integers will always be even, I believe. Don't quote me on that, but that won't matter for this problem because we know 2 is incorrect anyway. Number 11. If m is a positive integer, which of the following is not equal to 2 to the 4th to the power of m? A power to another power, we can multiply the two powers, so a is correct. 2 squared, so we can do 2 squared to the power of m. So 4 to the power of 2m is also correct. 2 to the m times 2 to the 3m, we can add the m and 3m to get 4m. 2 to the 4th is 16, so D is the only one that cannot be equal to our original statement. Number 12, according to the graph above, in which year was the ratio of number of students enrolled at school B to the number of students enrolled at school A the greatest? Wow, I feel like I might have answered. I mean, I got the problem right because I got 100 on this, but wow, this could be confusing for some students. I could see how a lot of students will answer 1992 for this one because they notice this is the biggest gap. But that same gap occurs here in 1994. And since we're talking about ratios, notice how 800 to 1600 is 2. But for this one, we have 2000 is to 1200, which is less than 2. So the greatest will be 1994. Ooh, tricky, tricky. Number 13, in the figure above, L is parallel to M, which the following must equal 180. All right, so RPT, right? R plus P plus T will equal 180 because they lie on a straight line. Now let's think about what angles are equal. T and S are equal. T and N are equal because L and M are parallel. By alternate interior angles, T and N are congruent. R and K are congruent. So we need a P. There's no other angle that's congruent to P. So A and E are automatically out. We need that P in the middle. Now we need any combination of RK and TSN. K and S. B is our answer. N, no. N and T, no. They're the same thing, right? So B is our answer here. Ooh, I believe this is our last page. Let's get it. Number 14. How many different ordered pairs, x, y, are there such that x is an even integer where x is between 4 and 10, including 4 and 10, but even integer. So we're talking about 4, 6, 8, and 10. That's x. And for y, any integer between 4 and 10. So 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, not including 4 and 10. How many different ordered pairs can we make? Well, for each of the x values, I can have all 5 y values. So we'll have 4 times 5, which is 20. But I feel like there's a catch here because that's too easy, right? I feel like there's a catch here because 6, 6 would be the same. But they said how many different ordered pairs? Right, 6, 6 would be the same. So let's do 4 times 5 first. That's 20. But then 6, 6 will get twice. 8, 8 will also get twice. So technically 18 would be the correct answer here, no? Because there are no other repeats. Ooh, interesting. Did the College Board make a mistake here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, just kidding. You would not count 6, 6 and 8, 8 twice. I think I was thinking about permutations here because I was thinking y, x. No, College Board did not make a mistake. C, 20 is correct. Ooh, that would have thrown me off during the test. 15-year-old Eddie would have gotten stuck as well. Or maybe 15-year-old Eddie wouldn't have thought as hard about that one. Speaking of number 15, let's get it. The function above can be used to model the population of a certain endangered species of animal if n of t gives the number of the species living t decades after the year 1900. Ooh, this decades will probably be important. Which of the following is true of the population of the species from 1900 to 1920? 20 years is 2 decades, so t is going to equal 2. So we'll have 500 times 0.81 squared. The 2 again. Buggin'. Okay, so what would this equal? This would approximately equal 0.8 squared. That'll be about 0.64, maybe a little more. But 0.64 of 500 will be about 320. But what's the question? I was really inclined to just put D here. But what's the question here? Which of the following is true about the population of the species? increased or decreased? 320 is the actual population in 1920. But from 1900, when it was 500 to start, we have decreased 180. Ah, wow, what a trick. I could see how students can get tripped up for that one. Wow, really good trap answer here. Number 16. A sphere of radius r inside a cube touches each one of the 6 sides of the cube. What is the volume of the cube in terms of r? All right, if we have a sphere, let's see if I can draw this correctly, just as a visual. We'll have like, it's really hard to draw a circle here. But let's say we have some sphere from the center to the top to the bottom. That'll be 2r. And it'll be 2r on all dimensions. Wow, the hardest number to draw on Adobe here. 2r cubed then will give us 8r cubed. 2r cubed is a really good trap answer as well, because some students might forget that this cube must be distributed to both the 2 and the r. There we go. And there's our 800. And that's the test. Done. Pencil down. If you stuck around for the whole thing, you already know I didn't let it beat me without a fight. Whether I passed or failed by today's standards, I hope watching me work through it actually showed you how to approach these problems in real time, the same way 15-year-old Eddie had to. If this is helpful, hit subscribe. I'm posting a lot more SAT math content breaking down specific topics and exactly how to push for that 800. Drop a like if this earned it. It genuinely makes a difference for the channel. Comment below with how you think I did, or drop any questions you have about the SAT math section. I read every single comment. If you're serious about hitting 800, don't stop here. I've already covered a ton of specific question types and common misconceptions in my other videos. Go watch those next. I'll see you there.